detail. Look at the detail.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Devin Lewis, and I'm part of the Sports Product Management class of 2024, and this is my Sneakerhead stories. So, my all-time favorite pair of sneakers is these right here, the Jordan 6 Carmines. Very nice, clean, sleek colorway. I'm a big red and black guy, but for me, it was kind of more or less, this was the first sneaker that I had remembering growing up as a kid when my dad got them for me and stuff like that. So it's always bring me back to a good point in my childhood, a good memory. And that's kind of how I got into sneakers and stuff like that, my family. So my all-time favorite sneaker is Carmine 6s. So during my time as a student athlete down at the University of Oregon, the first pair that I actually got was the Tinker Alternate Jordan 3s right here. Really great, really great. The 3 is just an all-time classic all the way around. They gave us these for our homecoming game against UCLA, and it's a very iconic shoe. Everybody wants them and stuff like that. But for me, I would really consider the first shoes that they gave me that I really truly loved was the 6s. Kind of like I said in the last one, the Jordan 6 is my favorite silhouette, a very sleek colored shoe. When you put them against the light, you can kind of see the O with the CM3 right here, and then just the back with the ducks, the Mighty Duck wings and stuff like that. It's just like a very clean fit, and it's a very clean look, and you can never go wrong with a pair of 6s. So these are my first two for the Oregon editions. But many more, but these are obviously the top two in my opinion that I received when I was there.
So how do you feel if you got when you got the first one? The emotion.
Oh yeah, the emotion behind getting the first one. So getting these, it was kind of like a long way coming for me because growing up as a kid, always seeing like Complex and other Instagram stories and stuff like that put out, this is the Oregon shoe or the Oregon colorway. It was kind of like, oh dang, I can't wait till I want to be able to get these when I grow up. And then after all my hard work throughout high school and putting in the work for football and school as well, finally getting them, it felt like a dream come true, and it felt like it's one of those moments to where it just felt like I was on top of the world and nobody could tell me anything. It was like, okay, I made it, but there's still a long way to go. And then it kind of really sparked my ambition behind getting PEs and also starting to look at more, exclusivity with sneakers and stuff like that. There's actually two sneakers that I have that have the most sentimental value to me. One of them I have right here, the New Orleans Air Force Ones, but the other one is the LeBron All-Star 11s from when it was All-Star Weekend in New Orleans in 2014. My sister had got me those for Valentine's Day, and that's what really kind of reinvigorated me to get back into the sneaker space and stuff like that. So I wish I have it here, but it's back at home in the box. But so the one that I do have that's with me is the New Orleans Air Force Ones that kind of came out last year. Nike started to do a bunch of city packs and stuff like that, and this is the New Orleans version of the Air Force Ones. It was funny story about these is I asked like 5 people in the program to help me try to get them because I didn't know if I could get them. So 5 other people in the program and then friends from back home who didn't want them, I tried to help them or tried to get them to help me get them because for me it's the shoe not just because it's an Air Force One, but because it has a lot of references to New Orleans. It has the state with where New Orleans is. It's a star. It has the area code 504. The L in NOLA is the shape of the state, and it just represents a lot of what New Orleans stands for, especially with the kind of glitter diamond aspect. It reminds me of the old Hot Boy song Bling Bling, and every time I see him, I instantly start thinking of that song with Birdman and Lil Wayne and stuff like that. And it really makes me, it's really sentimental because it's starting to show that there's more sneaker culture in New Orleans, and there's not really, growing up there wasn't really much there. And now it shows, like, to me, it's showing that my city and where I'm from is getting more of a spotlight now, and it's getting more attention. And that's kind of really what I want to do, no matter where I'm going to be at in the industry or wherever I end up. I'm always going to be from New Orleans, and that's something that I want to shine through with what I do, and that's what I want to bring more light to eventually down the line, is bringing more sneaker culture and bringing more the sports product industry culture down to where I'm from, because there's the closest place to there is either Houston or Atlanta, and either way it go, that's an 8-9 hour drive in either direction. So there's three big people in the sneaker community, especially for people that I see myself like, Tony D2 Wild, Mike Rich, and the sneaker customizer Serato. I watched all three of those guys since I was in high school, when I really started to pick up my love for sneaker and the sneaker culture. And not only because I saw them get a lot of the shoes that I wish I could have got because I didn't have a job or stuff like that at the time, but it was more or less I saw myself in their shoes in a sense, because there were other sneakerheads and sneaker content creators of color. I'm a big advocate of seeing more people like myself that look like myself in spaces that I want to be in, and seeing those guys in positions to like get shoes and to have a following and stuff like that. I was drawn to that because it's like, okay, there's people like myself out there that enjoy what I enjoy as well. So that was something that I really gravitate towards, and I still follow them to this day. Not really like as much as I was, but like, you know, now that I can be in spaces to talk about the shoe culture and sneaker culture and stuff like that, that's something that's the reason why I follow those three really heavily. One, because Serato works with customizing shoes, and also like putting a lot of stuff that I enjoyed as a kid and growing up. Like he do customs for a lot of athletes, does anime. He has some of his most known videos is Space Jam customs, Naruto and Dragon Ball Z customs on Yeezys, Jordans, like everything under the sun. So having those and like having those special kind of creators, the creators of Black people like myself, that's those people that I see like myself and that I can gravitate towards in that space. So the most out-of-pocket random way that I've got a pair of shoes, and it so happened to be on a lot of people's rails, the Travis Scott ones, the first Travis Scotts. I was down in my dorm my freshman year, and the day before they dropped, my friend was like, "Hey man, you gonna try to wake up for the Travis Scotts in the morning?" And I was like, if I do wake up in time, it's just gonna be what it's gonna be. If I do, I'm gonna try. If I don't, whatever. So the next morning I woke up and I saw that I was reading that the sneakers app had crashed because it was such a high volume of people going in to try to get them. And so I was like, okay, let me just try to give it a shot. I didn't even get on my phone. I wound up going to the sneakers website online, and then I just put in my bid somehow. And granted, this is a size 14, so I don't know if a lot of people were going for a 14 or not, but I wound up just putting in for a bid at that point, and then it was just, I waited like 15 minutes, and like 15 minutes later, I got a notification saying you got them. And then the crazy thing was, I went down to my friend's room, and I knocked on his door, and he was like, "Man, I'm set. I didn't get him." And I was like, "For real?" And he was like, "What you mean?" And I pulled out my phone and showed him the page, and he was like, "How? You didn't even want him?" And I said, I guess. And then it kind of just became a staple of my collection since. I bring them out for occasions, like I wore them for my 21st birthday, and then I wore them for graduation, and then like certain other occasions, like a special dinner or something like that, I will wear them. But I got them, and it was just like crazy.
What is the most recent additions to your collection?
So the most recent additions to my sneaker collection is the Air Jordan Thunder 4s. I always get the year mixed up, but the last time they dropped was like 2014 or 2015-ish, somewhere in those teen eras. And that was either right at the time I just got back into sneakers, or that was before I got into sneakers. So the Thunders was a pair of shoes that I always talked about with my brother, that I always wanted to get no matter what. I always told him like, hey, at some point I'm gonna wind up getting a pair of Thunders. And it just so happened to where they decided to retro them. Or crazy story, I bought them during COVID, but then my order had got canceled. So I was like, hey, I told my brother I was so excited I finally got them, and then 2 days later they canceled my order on them. So it was like, wow, okay. So, and then they recently did the, you know, as you know, they retroed them and they're bringing them back out, or they dropped last weekend or this weekend that just passed. But I had somebody hit on the shock. I got help that somebody hit on the shock drop, and then I wound up getting them. And you know, I just feel like this is an all around nice, clean, all black with the yellow. I'm not really a big solid color guy, but when I do, I would probably prefer the yellow because yellow always stands out against black. And these were just always on my list. It was just the resale for them from the 2014 pair was crazy. Always like $400, $500. So it was, you know, glad that I was finally able to get them.
So what is your sneakerhead dream job you want to work after graduation from this program?
So after the program, the dream job, or the job that I would be able to wake up to and just be like, I wouldn't be upset that I would have to go to work, that it's just like another day in life to where I get to enjoy what I do. I eventually want to get into the space to where I can help tell the story for athletes. Being a former athlete, that's kind of something that I see that is very prevalent in my life. Having sports being a catalyst for life for me is something that always strive for me to push through adversity, to push through anything that's going on. And being able to have that story told in the right manner is something that is really needed in this space. Like sometimes if for a brand to get together with an athlete, it makes it, they have to have cohesion, and I want to be able to help that athlete tell their story their way as much as possible while mixing in the ties of whatever company that I'm with or whoever it is. Being able to tell a story and just working with athletes, being in a sport or being from a sport, I played football for 17 years, and it's hard for me to just, since I'm finished playing football, it's hard for me to stop. So being with athletes, knowing the mind state of an athlete and how they want their story told, that's what I feel like my calling is. So eventually trying to get into that brand marketing space to where I want to be able to help create the stories, or help create the story aspect for the brand, for that athlete, the way that they want it, so that either way it goes, they can be proud to say, this is something that I stand with. This is my story, and this is what brings it together. And this is how this brand helps me in a sense, and how they help me tell my story, either for my community, for myself, for my family. And that's really what I want from, we see it done the best with athletes like LeBron, having the line more than an athlete, and having his school in Ohio and stuff like that. Being able for athletes to give back to their community, but also to build their story the way that they want it, how they want to be seen. And that's really what I want. That's really what my dream job would be, is to work with athletes to help them tell their story.